When Halloween returns each October, so do the 50-year-old memories for Judith O, who starred as Barbra in the 1968 horror classic Night of the Living Dead as one of several characters taking refuge in an isolated farmhouse under attack from flesh-eating ghouls. The actress remembers watching the film on the big screen for the first time when it premiered in her hometown of Pittsburgh, where the film was also shot, although she recalls identifying more as an audience member rather than one of the cast. "I looked at myself and began critiquing my performance," says O, who lives in Flagstaff, Arizona. "Then suddenly I found myself forgetting it was Judith O up there and became wrapped up in the storyline. That was a wonderful indication of a powerful story that could hold people's attention. From The Shining to The Birds, 25 horror movies to watch before you die, 5 Halloween viewing, 10 thrillers and chillers to watch at home for a horror-filled October." Over the years, O has also learned to look beyond the film's horror scenes and appreciate director George Romero's filmmaking skills. There's a scene where impressing the button on a musical box, which George was shooting from the floor up, she says. "He was shooting right through the box and for a fraction of a second you see Barbra's eyes, which I thought was a beautiful artistic shot. Then at the end when it alternates between still shots of the bodies and live action, that was a great effective use of the camera." The film, says O, broke barriers in the industry. As an independent movie made outside Hollywood, it raised its own money, which I guess you could call one of the first Kickstarters for a film. It was also filmed almost like a docudrama, unusual for the 60s, and Terry's no happy ending because everybody died. Night of the Living Dead, 10 great horror flicks with a social conscience. Halloween drive-through, in COVID times, is a spooky car experience worth the trip. Shot on a shoestring budget of just $114,000, O says her final scene being dragged from the farmhouse still haunts her. "In your mind it's all pretend, but you get involved in the scene," she says. "With all those ghoul hands grabbing at me, it was actually quite frightening and took me back to the fear I felt as a child when I saw Vincent Price's face fall apart in the 1953 House of Wax. That scared me so badly my folks had to take me from the theater. Whenever I'm called upon to be frightened in a role, I just think of that Vincent Price scene." Another memorable scene from the film produced one of the classic lines in all horror films, uttered to O's character by actor Russell Striner, who plays her brother in the opening cemetery scene shot at Evans City Cemetery in Pennsylvania. "I don't think a week goes by that someone doesn't come up to me and say, 'They're coming to get you, Barbra,'" says O, laughing. So has she grown wary of hearing the quote through all these years? "How could I be tired of hearing something that has changed my life so considerably?" she says. "I love it when fans repeat the line to me. I feel so lucky to have been a part of something that was so different and has lasted so long."